but he must be punished. Either by you or somebody, he must be punished. Oh, what kind of punishment do you normally give to people? Already enough punishment has been given, isn't it? Already it's been given. The ugliness, the nastiness, the silent treatment, everything has happened. So what more punishment you want to give? Your thing is there is no remorse on the other side. There's no remorse on the other side because people are doing what they want to do, not what you want them to do, always. And that may not be in your interest, but they're doing what they want to do. Is it right, wrong? I'm not going into the morality of it. I want you to understand the mechanics of the situation. Somebody is doing what they want to do. Now you think they must be punished. Probably they have not broken any law, otherwise they would be anyway punished.
Somebody must be punished. Who do you want to be punished? Is it the cheater or the cheat? Is that how we call them? The cheat? Or is it the person who was cheated on or who is being cheated on? Who is to be punished? Who is to be blamed? Or is it the side chick? How do you deal with a cheating spouse? How do you deal with the person he's cheating with? And we're just going to say that we're talking about men cheating on their wives. So that's the context. Okay, men cheating on their wives. So we're not talking about our long-term relationships. So let's call them spouse. Men cheating on their spouses, their living partners, a person who they've been living with for years and maybe have children with, but that doesn't matter. Well, maybe it does for some people. Hi, my name is Claudette Campbell, and I am the president and chairperson of the Daughters of Sheba Foundation. Thank you for joining us. The Daughters of Sheba Foundation is a Canadian nonprofit organization. We have been in an organization now. This August, we'll be celebrating our 4th year in existence. And our work is with women. We focus on women's affairs, women's issues, some people say women empowerment issues, but that's what we do. We do some intervention as well, direct intervention, limited, but we do direct intervention. And my camera is not on to show you my lovely face because, as I said, every Saturday morning, I think this is the 4th week we're doing this now. I always tell you I don't turn on the camera on a Saturday morning. It's too early to get a face on. Not bad looking, but yeah. So this morning, our Saturday morning conversation is about the cheats, the cheated on, and the side chick who is to be blamed. And this came about because of a post that we did on our page. This is maybe 3 weeks ago, but every single day there is a big conversation in the comment section about this. So I decided, let us have this conversation this morning. We're here for about half an hour. Let's just talk about this morning because I have all kinds of observations. Maybe I'll bring that up to show you. And people saying, oh, it's a side chick fault, or she's to be blamed. She knew that the man was a married man. And some people, myself included, say, no, it's the man who stepped out. He's to be blamed. Some people say both sides is to blame. I want to hear from you. But as always on a Saturday morning, we delve into a little bit of the history, a little of the psychology, a little of the backstory as to cheats. Who is to be blamed? Talking about infidelity this morning. And as I said, my name is Claudette Campbell, and you are watching Saturday Morning Conversations.
Why do we cheat? And why do happy people cheat? And when we say infidelity, what exactly do we mean? Is it a hookup, a love story, paid sex, a chat room, a massage with happy endings? Why do we think that men cheat out of boredom and fear of intimacy, but women cheat out of loneliness and hunger for intimacy? And is an affair always the end of a relationship? For the past 10 years, I have traveled the globe and worked extensively with hundreds of couples who have been shattered by infidelity. There is one simple act of transgression that can rob a couple from their relationship, their happiness, and their very identity, an affair. And yet, this extremely common act is so poorly understood. So this talk is for anyone who has ever loved. Adultery has existed since marriage was invented, and so too the taboo against it. In fact, infidelity has a tenacity that marriage can only envy, so much so that this is the only commandment that is repeated twice in the Bible. Once for doing it, and once just for thinking about it. So how do we
Did you know that infidelity is mentioned twice in the Bible, once for doing it and once for thinking about it? Now, this is a very interesting talk, and I would suggest that you go and watch the full talk on YouTube. I am not able to play all of it. You know, I'm playing portions of it, but this lady, she brings about Esther Perel. She brings about another perspective about why people cheat, why do men cheat, and why even women cheat. But in all, one day we will do why women cheat. Okay. Today, like I said, we're talking about why men in relationships cheat and whose fault is it. I don't have the answer. I am like everyone else. I have cheated. Full disclosure, and I've been cheated on, full disclosure. So, and obviously I don't have the answer because now I'm a widow and I am single for the past 4 years and I'm not looking to mingle. So, you know, and I know some troll is going to say nobody wants to mingle with you, and that's fine because I don't want to mingle with them either. So infidelity, which is a synonym for non-consensual, non-monogamy, cheating, straying, adultery, being unfaithful, two-timing, or having an affair, is what we say is a violation of a couple's emotional or sexual exclusivity that commonly results in feelings of anger, sexual jealousy, and rivalry. Now, infidelity, what is infidelity depends on the expectations within the relationship. In marriages, exclusivity is usually assumed that you're married to me, so it's just you and me going to be doing the do. Infidelity, as mentioned, as Esther mentioned in the little clip that we played there, infidelity can cause psychological damage, including feelings of rage and betrayal. It can cause depression. It can cause low sexual and personal confidence, and even, they say, post-traumatic stress disorder. People of both sexes, so both male and both female, can experience social consequences if their infidelity is made public. You know, people can stop talking to them, people can, you know, isolate them. But the form and the extent of these consequences depend on the gender of the unfaithful partner. So if it is the man who is unfaithful, no big deal. But if it's a woman who is unfaithful, Houston, we have a problem.
Yet universally practiced. Now, throughout history, men practically had a license to cheat with little consequence, and supported by a host of biological and evolutionary theories that justify their need to roam. So the double standard is as old as adultery itself. But who knows what's really going on under the sheets there, right? Because when it comes to sex, the pressure for men is to boast and to exaggerate. But the pressure for women is to hide, minimize, and deny, which isn't surprising when you consider that there are still 9 countries where women can be killed for straying. Now, monogamy used to be...
Let's pause there for a moment. She said, I didn't do that part of the research, how many countries there are that women can be unalived for straying, for being unfaithful. I'm sure it probably is still the same 9. But the contradiction, the hypocrisy about men being able to do whatever they want and a woman cannot do whatever she wants in terms of I'm so conscious of the critic of the sense the censorship here, but in terms of having an affair. Thank you for joining us. My name is Claudette Campbell. I am the president and chairperson of the Daughters of Sheba Foundation. And this morning you have joined us for our Saturday morning conversations, and our topic this morning is the cheats, the cheated-ons, and the side chicks. Who is to be blamed? So I'm going to jump forward a little bit, and because this whole infidelity and cheating and who's to be blamed and who's at fault and so forth, it's a big conversation. And so there's no way, I'm going to do justice to it, to all of it in half an hour. But I found this interesting video on YouTube from a Jimmy on relationships. That's his handle, and he confesses that he cheated on his wife early in their marriage. And so he talks about whether he's the best. Some might think that he's not the best person to give relationship advice and so forth, but this one thing that he said, I think it is important for us to hear it as we talk about who is to be blamed. So let's have a listen here.
How important it is to have a fulfilling relationship together, that your relationship is like a third entity between both of you, and you need to be intentionally protecting it and prioritizing it. But if your partner does end up cheating, don't let anyone ever tell you it was 50% your fault. It was 0% your fault, because nobody causes anyone else to cheat. Now, I understand full well how damaging a disconnected relationship can feel. I understand that in so many cases, one person might have been begging for intimacy and affection and closeness from their partner, and they were pushed away. I understand the effort that you might have been putting in way before the cheating even happened that wasn't being reciprocated. And I'm going to have some tough love for that partner in just a little bit. But that doesn't change the fact that cheating is still 100% the betrayer's decision. At the end of the day, we could have broken up with them or divorced them and then slept with who.
The cheating was, in his opinion, 100% the decision and responsibility of the betrayer. I've had so many women who have come on to our platform with their Bibles in hand and all of that, and telling us that it's the side chicks, either her fault for enticing their man, or it's there to be blamed partially for it, and I'm like, I don't agree with that. If a quote unquote side chick enters a relationship with a married man, knowing full well that he was married, okay, you can say that she had, I don't even want to use the word responsibility, but she had knowledge that he was in a relationship, but she didn't call him outside to come and play with her. No, he stepped outside and sought her out, or even if she wink, 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 nudge, nudge at him, he is a big man. He could have said, no, I'm not interested. So, I like what that fellow Jimmy just said, that it is 100% the responsibility, if you don't like the word blame, of the person who decided to step outside of the marriage. So I think I've answered the question of the morning. So maybe I can shut up and let you all go about your your business at this point. About who is to be blamed. Maybe maybe blamed is not the word, but what are the contributions? What are the factors involved? Why each person decide to stay in a relationship that they've been cheated on in? Or why the cheater decides to go out, or why is it that the person who is cheating with the side chick is deciding to continue in the relationship even after finding out that he's married? Who is going to be the big person in the room and say, okay, this ain't working, this has to stop one way or the other? Who is going to be the big person in the room? Let's go back to Esther here for a bit and hear how she describes monogamy over the years and where we are at now when it comes on to monogamy. Let's have a listen to that.
We used to marry and had sex for the first time, but now we marry and we stop having sex with others. The fact is that monogamy had nothing to do with love. Men relied on women's fidelity in order to know whose children these are and who gets the cows when I die. Now, everyone wants to know what percentage of people cheat. I've been asked that question since I arrived at this conference. It applies to you. But the definition of infidelity keeps on expanding. Sexting, watching porn, staying secretly active on dating apps. So because there is no universally agreed upon definition of what even constitutes an infidelity, estimates vary widely from 26% to 75%. But on top of it, we are walking contradictions. So 95% of us will say that it is terribly wrong for our partner to lie about having an affair, but just about the same amount of us will say that that's exactly what we would do if we were having one. Now,
so did you hear what she said about monogamy when this all started coming about in marriage and so forth? It was expected, and that the woman's fidelity was expected so that they could know who is the father of the child. So the responsibility from time immemorial to be faithful relied on the woman. The man from way back when was never expected to be, at least the responsibility of monogamy was never on his shoulders. And, it explains a lot, and as she went on to say about how many people are what percentage of people are unfaithful. Now, infidelity is rampant all across the world, yet people demand monogamy, and I was reading somewhere where it says among other mammal species, only 9% mate for life. Okay, so those of you who believe in monogamy insist that open relationships do not work, but maybe some are suggesting it's time to rethink that, because even if you look at other mammals, only 9% are monogamous, So this thing about, he cheated, it's over. Maybe it's time to rethink that. Maybe now we can understand why when a man cheats on his wife, the wife stays in the relationship. Maybe they're the ones who are forward-thinking ones. Those of us who are saying, hey, he cheats on you, you should leave. Maybe not. Because as experts, therapists and others who I've read said that Many insist that monogamy is natural, but only around 9% of mammals, we are mammals, so are the monkeys and everything else, whales and so forth are mammals. Only 9% of mammals species mate for life. And among humans, the prevalence of infidelity, it she said 75, between 25 and 75%. That's a wide range, but between 25 and 75% of people are not monogamous. They're cheating, they're having affairs, and some of you are not going to want to hear this, but let's go back to the Bible, in terms of sexual exclusivity, something that, it's written in the Bible and so forth. Well, I've read that in the Bible, polygamy was common, and we all know that polygamy was common. Several wives or one official wife plus concubines. Even in Genesis, Jacob had two wives, Leah and Rachel, and two concubines. I think it's Bilhah and Zilpah. In the Ten Commandments, considered infidelity as a vile sin, that not just one, as we heard in the early clip, but two commandments prohibited infidelity. So, it was an issue. It has always been an issue. That's the point I'm making here. One commandment says, thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Don't do it. Don't even think about it. So if those people back then had been comfortable with monogamy, the commandments would not have been necessary. It means that they were not monogamous. That's why the commandments were written in the Bible. The Mormons were publicly polygamous, meaning having more than one wife, partners, until 1890. And in fact, some still are. And nowadays, we have swing clubs and sex clubs and all kinds of clubs, typically open to adults and couples and single women. Now, advocates of strict monogamy often claim that non-monogamy just doesn't work. I don't know. What I'm seeing, what the data is showing all of us, is that we have more people having affairs. The divorce rates are up. What's one of the reasons why people are divorcing? Infidelity. So have we set an expectation that over history it cannot be met because monogamy is not natural? Are the men onto something, and is it time that we, the women, wake up and stop blaming the side chicks? They're just doing their jobs. I'm sorry to put it that way, but if monogamy was natural, why do we have so many books and plays and movies and songs around not being monogamous? Monogamy it's playwright says that monogamy is like using a 20-watt light bulb to read. It works, but it's not enough, end quote. Monogamy in the past was only for women. Monogamy was only for women. Monogamy critic Dan Savage points out that until the 20th century, most cultures assumed that men were naturally not monogamous, meaning not sleeping with one person. Monogamy was only for women, and it was enforced by men to control women's sexuality, and as the lady said, Esther, and I'm repeating, and to guarantee paternity. In many cultures, that is still the case. So monogamy, maybe we need to really think about this and stop blaming people and look into ourselves and say to ourselves, did we set up ourselves for failure? Did we follow some rules that even the ancients weren't following? When we're blaming side chicks, is it time for us to really wake up and realize that is this an unrealistic, like so many of these laws that we follow from the past, are these really unrealistic? Listen, folks, I've been cheated on, as I said, and it hurts like hell. I know. And I have cheated. And the party who I cheated on, they were in agony. I know it is not a wonderful experience for either side, but is it time for us? In the conversations that we've had on our platform, I've said to people in the comments, because I'm very active in the comments, I've said to people in the comments, if you're at the point in your relationship where your partner, be the wife or the husband, has cheated on you and the relationship is really not going any further, maybe you need to sit down and have an honest conversation, an open conversation with yourself. I'm not suggesting an open relationship. I'm just saying having a conversation and say, listen, dear, I love you. We've been doing this for how many years? Maybe it's time we go our separate ways. Don't you think that might be something to consider as people, as part of our evolution? So before you jump and into trying to point fingers even at yourself about why is your partner unfaithful, is it a side chick fault, or is it your fault, or is it their fault? And as one of the persons I played earlier said, it's the person who stepped out, their 100% responsibility. It was their decision to step out. But before you start judging that person for stepping out, we need to find out why did they step out. And I want to play this this clip from this video for you, because she talks about this understanding the 3 types of infidelity, and they're called the marriage helpers. And this is an old video, but it's still relevant. So I'm going to play that and have a listen.
Most types of infidelity stem from 3 main biological needs that people have in a relationship. There's the sexual need, the physical need, and the emotional need. So the first type of infidelity is sexual infidelity. As the name states, this type of infidelity is all about sex. It might be a one-night stand or many different one-night stands or a long-term physical-only relationship that a person is having. But this type of infidelity stems from the desire for sex. It's not about creating a relationship or a friendship or a companionship. It really is only about the sex. The second type of infidelity.
So when he says to you, oh, it was just sex, when you found out that he was cheating or whatever, this is what she's talking about. It's a sexual infidelity. It's just about, I'm not saying it's okay. We're just going through the various types of infidelity there are. So let's continue. On to the emotional infidelity.
Is emotional infidelity. This type of infidelity is more about the emotional and relational connection between 2 people rather than the physical connection. It's called limerence, and it's more common than you might think. We have a ton of videos specifically about limerence, so look in the show notes and see the link to some of those, or click on the screen to save videos to watch after you watch this one that will tell you more about limerence. Again, hit that bell below so that you can subscribe and see all of the videos that we come out with, including the ones about limerence. Now, limerence is different than just a sexual relationship. And so you should not attribute an affair that is going on, whether it's one you're having or that your spouse is having, that's deeply relational and deeply companionative, to the same as a sexual affair. If there's a solely sexual affair, it's very different than one that involves the relationship aspect of it. And you handle them in different ways.
And some of
in
you
just
have
a
had
minute, I'm going to give you a tip on how we can help you identify what kind of affair has happened in your marriage and what you can do about it. The third type of infidelity is the combination of both. It's the sexual and emotional infidelity. Because emotional infidelity, like we talked about before, does not have to be sexual, but it can become sexual, especially as the relationship develops, the friendship bonds, that companionship happens. It can lead to becoming a sexual relationship. And when the 2 of those are combined, then it is probably the strongest type of infidelity of the 3, because it combines all of those strongest biological drives that we have. The
Whoops, all this time my my microphone was turned off, was muted. I didn't want the noise. I was saying that there we have it. 3 types of infidelity. You might not agree, you might agree. Some of you might say there's a fourth, there's a side chick infidelity, the temptation of the side chick. But no. So if it's, sometimes the person will say to you, oh, it was just sex, I was just weak, it was just a moment, the guys and I were out and la 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 la. Or it can be somebody who they formed a friendship with. They form, this is why some women don't want their men to be having female friends, because one thing leads to another, and then you have the ones when the one thing leads to another and it's now sex and relationship. And that's the one you're going to find it hard to beat. There are women who have children with somebody's husband. I'm quite proud of it, and you're not going to get the husband to leave them. Your husband is not going to leave them. He has not just one, but maybe 2, 3, 4 kids. He has 2 families. So, going back to what I was saying at the start is maybe it is time to rethink the whole thing of love. What is love really about? Is love and marriage go together like a horse and a carriage? We had that conversation, was it last week or the week before, whether this whole marriage thing is a myth. Is it a contract? Is it a financial contract? Is it for love? And this expectation that you're married, you're going to be monogamous for life. When I just read to you statistics, I just shared with you statistics that says 9%, only 9% of mammals mate with one mammal for all of their lives. Is it time for we to be rethinking? Those of you who can do it, good on you. Wonderful. And if you're happy, good on you. But there are at least 25% of people who cannot do it. And is it fair to be blaming the side chick? Is it fair to be blaming the wife, saying that she's not fulfilling this person? Is it just the person's innate desire, drive for sex, for romance, for, as you're seeing there, for deeper connection, deeper companionship? That one, people love to talk about soulmates, and I've always maintained that you don't have one soulmate in this lifetime. I know I definitely have not had one soulmate in this lifetime. I've had at least 2 that in my lifetime. One lasted for a 16-year relationship and it ended through infidelity. It's this whole human relationship thing. We're trying to put it in a box, and that box is usually the shape of the Bible. And as we've seen, even in biblical times, monogamy was a problem. For keeping people monogamous was a problem. That's why there are 2, not one, but 2 passages in the Bible that speaks to the issue of monogamy and infidelity. So I don't know, maybe it is time for us to rethink this. I'm going to leave you this morning with another bit from Esther, because, as I'm saying that it's probably time for us to, as we're looking at marriages, as we're looking at what are marriages really, why is the divorce so high? In one country we saw, was it last week or the week before, that the divorce rate is 98% in one country. Is it time for us to rethink all of this? Is it time? And I'm going to close with a piece from her, with a segment from her that talks about what leads to, not what leads to, but what's at the core of somebody wanting to have that extramarital affair, and maybe this might resonate with some of you. Let me play that for you.
And they often will tell me stories of recent losses, of a parent who died, and a friend that went too soon, and bad news at a doctor. Death and mortality often live in the shadow of an affair because they raise these questions. Is this it? Is there more? Am I going on for another 25 years like this? Will I ever feel that thing again? And it has led me to think that perhaps these questions are the ones that propel people to cross the line, and that some affairs are an attempt to beat back deadness and an antidote to death. And contrary to what you may think, affairs are way less about sex and a lot more about desire. Desire for attention, desire to feel special, desire to feel important. And the very structure of an affair, the fact that you can never have your lover, keeps you wanting. That in itself is a desire machine, because the incompleteness, the ambiguity, keeps you wanting that which you can't have. Now, some of you probably think that affairs don't happen in open relationships, but they do. First of all, the conversation about monogamy is not the same as the conversation about infidelity. But the fact is that it seems that even when we have the freedom to have other sexual partners, we still seem to be lured by the power of the forbidden. That if we do that which we are not supposed to do, then we feel like we're really doing what we want to. And I've also told quite a few of my patients that if they could bring into their relationships 1/10 of the boldness, the imagination, and the verve that they put into their affairs, they probably would never need to see me.
Maybe that's where it is, the boldness, the verve into your current relationship. Can you recapture that after 25 years together, 10 years, 5 years together? Is it possible? Is it possible for you to be everything that the side chick is, to except for living in the same house? You know, here in Canada, I know of quite, and I've heard stories of even more people who live separately. They're married, they've been married for years, but they do not live in the same houses. Why? Just to have that distance, that space, that independence, that sense of self back or maintained. Maybe this is why these people do it, and they're together. I know a couple who have been together for 12 years and they don't live together. Maybe this is the key. Could this be? Are you in a marriage that you've been cheated on? Are you still happy in that marriage? How did you come back from that? Maybe that is what we will talk about next time. You know, how to come back from, or do you want to come back from a relationship that you've been cheated on, and especially a serial cheater? Do you want to really stay in a relationship like that? Do you want to stay in a relationship where it's not just a sexual encounter the person is having, it's not just emotional bond that they have with this other person, but when it moves, it blends into sexual and emotional, as the earlier speaker said? You know, that is the hardest one. And like I said, I know people, they're even on social media, very plain and bragging about it. You know, the extramarital affairs and the children that they have with other people's husband and all of that. Is it time to just say, just leave these people alone? Share your thoughts with me in the comments. I know that might not be an option for many of my Bible thumpers, and I love you all dearly, you know. But like I said earlier, even in the biblical times, this was an issue of infidelity. So share your thoughts with me, and let's continue the conversation. Join us on Facebook and on not Instagram. Yeah, Instagram, to share your thoughts, you know, on this. And even below here, please like and share this conversation, this Saturday morning conversation. Please share it, and let us continue to talk. You know, because I think everything is not. Some people might say everything is up for grabs. It's not up for grabs, but we are living in interesting times, and it's time to shake up quite a few things need to be shaken up. So thanks again for joining me. Like I said, please like and share, and let us continue the conversation in the comments, and we'll take the next step next time, and see where we go from here. All right. Thanks again. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. Bye-bye.